Alright. Huh. So how was your week?
Just dealing with anxiety. I went to work on Friday, and all the patients at my facility were sick.
That's scary.
Not all of them. I would say like we have 12, so like 5 of them were sick. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but 5 of them were. They all had sore throats, and it didn't click to anybody to like, let's check them out to make sure this is a real thing, and they're not just playing with us. And
Did they have to get tested or anything like that?
no, so they didn't get tested. I think my boss thought like it was like them just like one got sick and they were able to quarantine because they were actually sick. So she thought, oh, they're probably all just trying to do that instead of just taking the precaution.
Yeah, wow.
And then come Saturday, I wake up with like a sore throat, and like I never get sick, so it's like annoying. And
did you get tested?
yes, I got tested. I was able to get out my bed at like Monday because had a sore throat on Saturday, but I just felt like crap, so I just stayed in bed all day.
Did you get the results back yet, or are you still?
Yeah, I got the results back.
You're not sick?
Yeah, I'm not
COVID.
I'm not gonna give you COVID.
No, that's not why.
Not
Yeah, I'm glad that you're not. You
Yeah.
know, I've like known people at work too that are like waiting for days and days. And
No, luckily, like the first time I ever got the test, it took a week. Like not a week, but it felt like a week.
How many
Maybe
times
because
have you? Sorry.
I got tested. Because I worked in a field, so like I was getting tested a lot, or like early on in COVID, and then they just gave up on us.
That seems like it, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
So I went to a drive-up testing location, and the results came within like not even 24 hours later. I got it the next morning.
That's awesome.
So they were negative, thank God. But like the night, so I got tested on Monday, and I hadn't had like a fever. It was like slightly feverish, but not an actual fever. But the night I got tested, I spiked the fever, and like I was like, oh God, I have it. Like I automatically assumed it was COVID. So I was like, get my last rites out.
It makes me wonder if you like can make yourself have a fever worrying about it. It's so scary.
I definitely like felt like maybe I felt like I was overthinking it, or just so anxious because like people were sick and they weren't tested, and I didn't know. And I know I'm vaccinated and everything, but you still get it. And I was like, oh no, like, and then also like it's just allergy and flu like season, and colds are running rampant, so it was just a lot going on. And then this week, what made it worse was I had my midterm was I had 2 midterms today. One was like we were able to start it on Thursday of last week, but I was gonna wait till Monday was my day off, so I was gonna wait till Monday to do it. But like Monday, I was literally in bed all day.
It must have been rough getting ready for midterms, feeling like crappy.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't feel like I could. Like I didn't even want to open a book to read, and so like for all my classes, I just like kind of like put everything off. And then I even like emailed the teacher for today for my in-class midterm to ask if I could just reschedule, and she never got back to me, which kind of like made me nervous. And so I just like, well, I'm COVID free, so I can technically show up, and I'm fever free for a few days now because my fever broke. I had the fever on Monday, but it broke on Tuesday, so that I felt like it was a safe enough day to come back.
How was your fever? Was it really high?
It was literally just like 100.4, like
that's really
or
high.
I think 0.5.
That's so high.
No, but it's like that's like the start of a fever, or I guess that's technically a fever.
Yeah.
100.4.
Yeah, I guess it's only like 2 weeks. Yeah, that's rough. So did she ever get back to you?
She got back to me today after the test. But I was like, hey, I took it.
Did it go well? How did it go?
So I didn't study, but like I felt like the material was pretty straightforward, so I did well. She graded it like in class for us.
Cool.
But within my first like 5 minutes of sitting down, I had to get up to like leave because I was like having a coughing fit, which is so embarrassing in the middle of a test. And
with the way things are now, I could. Yeah.
It's like
Were people understanding, or did people kind of?
I don't know because I don't, we didn't really, they were in the middle of test, but like that classroom, for some reason, this school wants to place as many chairs as possible in a classroom, and so the cough.
Okay. Thank you for warning.
Good. So, I was like in the second row, but like the first two people in front of me were like so close, and I couldn't get through.
Huh.
Oh, I got my water.
Yeah. That's interesting.
And yeah, so
I'm glad that your test went well.
yeah. So when I left it did go well, but when I left, I felt like I was like, oh, this is embarrassing. Like just leaving in the middle of the test to go to the back, like just to cough somewhere, like in private, so people don't think I'm contagion.
That's super considerate.
And then I came back to class, and it was just so hot in the room, and I was like getting really anxious. I felt like I was sweating. And
What were you anxious about?
the coughing. I think like I was that I was gonna keep
sense.
coughing.
Yeah, but not the test.
Yeah, and I had stopped coughing. I took medicine before coming to class, but like I stopped coughing. But in my head, I was like, oh my god, what if it happens again? And I have to get up again. So I felt sick coming on again, and I just got up and like left my stuff in the classroom, just walked outside and sat outside for the rest of the class after the test was done.
That sounds stressful.
Take another sip of water.
Yeah, take as much as you need. You can always like cut stuff too. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was like my week. This was the first week that I technically, like, I started internship 2 weeks ago, but my supervisor, her first day was this week, back from her medical leave, and so like it was annoying because I couldn't do that.
Was that your first time meeting her in person?
It would have been, yeah, but I didn't get to go in.
Okay.
And so
I see.
yeah, so like I kind of missed, like, just like a little anxious now because like we've been a few weeks in now, and I feel like I'm a little behind on hours. I know I'll make them up.
Yeah, and it wasn't you. It was like her
circumstances.
Yeah. So you're.
And so
yeah, but she's nice. You like her?
Yeah. We've met on Zoom a few times, so she seemed very like put together, like organized, super like. I feel like she has like a type A personality, so she's gonna have everything under control. And like people in my practicum class, they seem to have like terrible supervisors.
Really?
Who don't show up. So
wow.
Luckily, like she's the only social worker in the building, so she has to show up. And so that's a positive.
Yeah.
I haven't really met her like in person yet, so I don't know like yet how the work is gonna be, but I can't wait because I think once it gets started, it's gonna like go really fast. I feel like, and even like my first few days were without her, when I was just in the building like looking over case notes, I feel like the day were flying by. So
how come? What made you feel like they were flying by? Was this really fun, or?
It was just like we were doing a lot of work. So like I was never sitting around idle.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so like it was always something for me to do. So I was like looking at case files. We got to sit in on a treatment team meeting like with the rest of the team, like the special education teachers, and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool, and so it just went fast. I was like, okay, this is probably how it'll be when we actually see the patients, their kids, the students.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So did they tell you what your specific responsibilities are going to be? Like, are you seeing like individual kids, or? Yeah, so she gave us like a list, like a caseload, and we'll be able to look at, I think we each get, like, there's another intern with me, so I think we each get like 15 to 16 kids. That's a lot. To kind of help, well, she gets them all, but like we're helping her with those. Okay. And she, like, I'm working on I work the other intern 2 days a week, but then we each have our own day where we're by ourselves with the supervisor. So we gotta get to see those kids in action. But a lot of it is a lot of group work for the kids. What kind of group work? They do what's called lunch bunch. So I haven't seen it in action, but it's like kind of communicating with the kids and seeing like a lot of social emotional learning type of stuff. And that sounds awesome.
Yeah. So I haven't really had a chance to see them in action yet, but that's gonna be cool when we get to bring them into the group room to do that.
What does that involve? Would you mind telling me a little bit about it? I'm curious.
So far, coughing again. So far I haven't been able to see like what they do, but I know, the substitute social worker who's been there, she's been going into the cafeteria to do it, and she like brings cards with them just to talk with them. It's like more of like getting to know them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming down the line we're gonna work on like some of their goals and like their treatment plan. That
cool.
way, we can make sure there's growth there.
Yeah.
We also get to do this cool thing. They do what's it called? Like on Thanksgiving, they food drive, but not a food drive. They do they get donations for some of the students.
Okay.
So they have like a certain amount of students who are what the state pays for the food.
Like school lunch.
Yeah,
program?
yeah, they're in the free school lunch program.
Cool.
It's so hard to think of things right
no,
now.
there's a million. I mean, there's a million things like that. I don't.
Yeah, so they get free lunch. That's what it is. Like
That's
they
cool.
get food.
Yeah.
They get free lunch, and so we base it based on that list, and like we try to get local grocery stores or
Wow.
restaurants to donate gift cards or turkey. So we were able to start that last week when she wasn't in the building. She kind of gave us like a rundown of what we do, and so we're kind of getting through that this month. We're really gonna like kind of put the pedal to the metal and
Cool.
try to get donations for them. She tries to get at least like 40.
Wow.
Like tries to help at least 40 families each year.
Wow. So like what kind of stuff does that involve? Like going to businesses that you can think of, and like what kind of
Yeah, so we get to we're calling on like different grocery stores or emailing them and just asking them if they can sorry, but they're coming in.
Yeah.
So asking them if they can just donate anything. So it could be turkeys, gift cards, meals, like just
Awesome.
or just vouchers or something. So anything that would be helpful for the families.
Really cool.
And then she also wants to do Christmas. Sorry.
No, don't be. Seriously, you're fine. I'm sorry
Yeah.
that you have to talk so much.
A Christmas like toy drive.
Mm-hmm.
So that seems like it's gonna be really interesting as well, because we'll have we'll be able to do something for the kids as well around Christmas time.
These
So-
are the kids that you're working with individually, and
So I had to ask her about that. I don't know if it's like for the low income students again or the kids we work with.
which kids are you working with? Like, what's the criteria for that?
So they are either in special ed, so they have like a IEP, or they have a 504.
What's that?
So a 504 is where so an IEP is for somebody who qualifies for special education. So they maybe have a learning disability, or maybe like some kind of like maybe autism. Whereas 504 plan, they don't have anything to qualify for special ed, but they do need like accommodations in the classroom. So maybe they like need to get up and walk around the classroom to get like moving because they can't sit still,
Okay.
or maybe they need extra time on the test.
Right.
So they don't really qualify for the special education.
Just like special considerations. and
Yeah,
stuff
just just to be mindful, like, oh, this kid needs a little more support.
awesome.
And some of them need like that, like the to meet with a social worker just to help with like the social emotional learning and stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, remind me, what age are these kids? I forgot.
So we do kindergarten through 5th grade.
Okay.
So 4 or 5 years olds to, I don't know what 5th graders are nowadays.
think they're-
10 or 11?
Yeah, that sounds
That
right.
sounds right.
Yeah. No, though.
10 or 11.
Yeah, not too old. That's not too old.
Yeah.
That's a cool age. What do you
Yeah.
think of that age? It's not your first time working with kids?
No, I used to work at a school and I used to do 6th grade. So I used to
Okay.
do, I used to teach 6th grade, so they were about 12 or 13 year olds.
So they're younger.
And they were regular education, so just kind of taught all the 4 major subjects.
What,
So,
you taught them?
yeah,
Wow.
other teacher.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What subject? Like math?
So we did math and we did, it, reading, writing.
Right.
Math, which was like, I feel like it was almost pre-algebra type of math already in 6th grade, which
Seems
is
like it would be pretty high.
it was really
in 6th grade.
intense.
Yeah, like 6th grade. It's like, yeah. I don't think I would want to teach them math in 6th grade.
And we did science and social studies.
That's cool.
My first year, I had to teach all 4, but my second year, we split up with the different grades. We just taught different, so I didn't have to teach math.
Okay.
I requested to be off of math.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe you're amazing at math. I don't mean to be like, it's just, I know I wouldn't want to. Sorry. Yeah. Do you like math? And you don't, I mean, I'm guessing you don't if you were asked to be taken off it.
I am the type that, like, I know 2 plus 2 is 4. I know how to do something. I don't like explaining it to other people, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
I think it needs to be understood already.
Huh.
But yeah.
Interesting. I don't even remember what it was like learning math at school. I just remember I hated it. So I don't know. But that's interesting. That's really amazing though that you like taught 4 different subjects.
I know, it's ridiculous actually.
It's
to think about it later.
It kind of is like from a school system perspective.
Because you have to come up with 4 lesson plans a day.
Wow.
Reading, math. No, there's one more. Math, reading. So reading and writing are 2 different subjects.
Okay.
Because you do reading.
Like English?
Yeah, like English. Okay. And then
I'm surprised writing is a subject. I'm impressed by that actually. I thought, like,
which is helpful because like grammar.
Okay.
And like for like essays and stuff like that. Like.
So it is like 2 different parts of English. That's interesting.
So we had to come up with 5 lesson plans a day.
Wow.
That's 5 days a week.
That's wild. 5 lessons.
And have it ready, and then also have like different like accommodations for diverse learners. So like if you had somebody who was a little higher, he would get to get like, actually it's been so long I forgot the actual word for it, but you kind of like curtail the lesson like or assignments that he would get or she would get to like something a little challenging, and then you have like your lower learners, you have to come up with plans for them. So even though you're teaching the same lesson, the work you're giving might be different. So it was a rough 2 years, and I think that's where my anxiety started.
I can certainly understand that. Just question, curious. Were you able to use the same lesson plans the second year?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did keep them, but I felt like I was a lot better my second year. So I was able to like look. Okay, I did that last year, and then I'm gonna keep doing that, but maybe expand on it and maybe do a little more. And also like I started later.
Like in the year?
Yeah, I started in October instead of September because they needed, like, that's when they added me. So I felt like I had a lot of ground to catch up on, whereas my second year I already had all the stuff I needed, and I was able to do more different activities with them, projects. I definitely felt like my second year students got more out of me and maybe learned something. Whereas the first year,
your first year students learned something
they
too.
made it through.
That's just, I mean, I can't, I have to imagine that, like, it gets easier, right? But that's incredible. What made you decide you didn't want to keep doing it? You just decided to go for social work after that?
So I actually was going to do, I'm trying to think. I knew, like, December, my second year, I was like, I don't want to do this forever. I like teaching, but there's elementary school, there's a lot of challenges. Like, it's a lot of, I feel like you're dealing more with political stuff, like testing and what your administrator wants you to do, and it's not really like what you think is right for the student.
Okay.
So I kind of like, and I saw like the teachers who've been there for years and like how just drained they looked, and I was like, I don't want to be like that in 20 years.
It's a tough job.
Because like working with the kids was fun, but it's just all the other stuff just wasn't. So I knew like by December that I was like, this is not for me. And I already had a second job working at my current location where I was doing like overnight shifts. And I was like, I'll just go there and figure out what I want to do. I'll take my time. So I worked full time for about a year. I took some courses at the community colleges for like nursing, and my heart wasn't really in it. So I was just taking courses to take courses.
Wow, you've done a lot of stuff. Like
Yeah.
seriously, you've done a lot of different things.
And social work came about because I felt like there's so much to do. The macro part of it, like there's just you can do everything. Like you can have your hands in different aspects. Community. If I want to do therapy, I can do that. I can do the policy part. I think we talked about that before. So
yeah. Did you feel like the stuff that you were doing, working with the kids, and like some of the stuff you just talked about with the teachers being drained and stuff like that? Do you think that made you come to macro work at all? Like, what made you?
I do feel like there's like something in like I definitely think that I want to somehow bring it back to education, like bring whatever I do with social work back to like public school education. I just don't know what I want to do yet with that. I definitely think there's a lot of need for more social workers in the schools I taught in, or school I taught in, or the district, I should say. I think, they were sharing a social worker between 2 schools.
Wow.
With, like, probably a caseload of, like, I don't know, like 60. I don't know how many she had, but she definitely had a heavy caseload between the 2 schools.
Why?
And so they weren't really getting the education. And then you also have the kids who probably needed a social worker, but because they're spread so thin, they don't really have that, and they don't really go to, their parents don't know to bring them to therapy. There's just a lot of learning. There's a lot of stigma around therapy, so yeah. So
yeah. Now, where is the district that you teach in?
I taught in Bridgeport.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that must have been really tough, and I can totally imagine that around the stigma. That's really interesting. So when do you start? Like start?
My internship?
Yeah.
Okay. Technically tomorrow.
Okay.
So I'm going in tomorrow.
Wow. How do you feel? Like, are you nervous?
I'm ready. No, I'm ready.
Awesome. Yeah. What am I saying? You've done it before. Like the harder, more.
Yeah. It's gonna be different because it's a different type of, like, being in a school. It's a different type of job. So like being in a classroom is different than what the specialists do.
That's
so
true.
I think it's gonna be cool to see that aspect of it. She does a lot. So I told you about the community stuff that she does and the working with the kids at lunch, but like she does billing, she does she has a whole day of just IEP meetings, and so and then there's like calling parents to see how they're doing. I saw that on a Zoom. Like she kind of did that with one student on a Zoom. She called their parent to like kind of get a idea of where they are, and I didn't realize, like, in my head I'm like, oh, that makes sense, like to have that relationship with the parent and the rapport. But in my head I was like, I never thought that they had that. Like I thought like, oh, school social workers work with the kids, they not work with the family.
Totally.
But they are.
Yeah.
In the day, yeah.
I wonder if it's always been like that, or if it's.
I'm assuming it has, because you need to like know what's going on in the family to really help the kids.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I wonder if every parent is willing to do that. Probably not. I don't know. Have you ever? You just saw that one case with that one call.
Yeah, it was just that one call.
Are you gonna be making calls like that?
Maybe down the line.
It seems really hard.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, down the line. I think parent phone calls are the worst.
Yeah.
You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Unless you have a rapport with them.
Yeah.
So.
It seems scary. Yeah. Totally. I bet you'd be good at it though. You're very like.
Hopefully.
Yeah. You're very.
I like to say the wrong things.
You do.
No.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
How are we doing?
How are we doing?
We went over time.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
You're talking so much, I feel so bad.